breaking news from KXAN News.
Breaking news tonight at 5. We now know the extra charges an accused murderer will now face after attempting to escape from custody on Wednesday. Caitlin Armstrong is now facing escape causing bodily injury charges. That is a felony.
According to Travis County Sheriff's, one of its corrections officers suffered injuries while trying to apprehend her. And also today we have some new video from a KXAN viewer showing Armstrong trying to outrun officers in South Austin, even scaling a wall at one point. Take a look at this. The Travis County Sheriff's Office says Armstrong made a run for it yesterday morning after being taken to a medical center near South 1st Street and Ben White Boulevard. She already slipped out of the country once before when she fled to Costa Rica. Now, these new charges we're just telling you about now are on top of the first-degree murder charge for the shooting death of cyclist Moriah Wilson. The murder trial is slated to start on October 30th. The judge has issued a gag order, so Armstrong her attorney has not been able to comment on the escape attempt.
Other breaking news we are tracking tonight. San Marcos CISD fired an instructional assistant today. That's the teacher that supports the main teacher. This after the assistant teacher apparently brought a gun into a school and a child got a hold of it. Now the district tells us it happened at Bonham. That is a pre-K school, so pre-kindergartners. They say a student looked through the assistant's backpack, found the gun, took it out of the backpack and put it on a table in the classroom. The teacher noticed it, got the student away, and then evacuated all the other students. There were no injuries, fortunately, but a letter was sent home to parents. The district says the assistant is no longer employed there. We found out about this thanks to a tip that a parent sent to us that reported at KXAN.com. We thank that parent, and remember, you can always send us your tips there.
Well, Israel continues to hammer the Gaza Strip with airstrikes today, with the war now in its 6th day. More than 2,700 people have now been killed on all sides of the conflict. Israeli Defense Forces struck 450 targets overnight and into this morning. Israel says it hit Hamas's Operation Command Centers, the same command centers used to carry out Saturday's attack. Now, inside of Gaza, hospitals are overrun with a large number of children being brought in. Half of the Palestinian population in Gaza is under the age of 19. There are also over 100 hostages with Americans among them. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel as the Israeli military steps up its attacks against Hamas.
And as Alice Barr reports, more aid to Israel hangs in the balance until U.S. House Republicans elect a new speaker.
As the war intensifies in the Middle East, Israel is preparing for a potential ground invasion of the Gaza Strip, vowing to destroy the Hamas militant group that's still firing rockets. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Israel meeting with the Prime Minister and underscoring U.S. support.
As long as there's the United States, Israel will never be alone.
Secretary Blinken seeing new images of the atrocities committed by Hamas terrorists and meeting with survivors, pleading for help to bring hostages home.
First priority are our friends and family that are now in Gaza.
The Biden administration vowing support for the hostages, which include American citizens. At least 27 Americans now among the devastating death toll of both Israeli and Palestinian civilians as the humanitarian crisis in Gaza grows under a barrage of Israeli airstrikes and with access to food and fuel cut off.
And it makes you very scared of your own life.
Secretary Blinken saying he and Prime Minister Netanyahu discussed how to minimize civilian casualties and provide safe passage for those who want to leave, including Palestinian Americans.
Hamas continues to use civilians as human shields.
Starting tomorrow, the U.S. government arranging charter flights to get American citizens out of Israel. While in Washington, House Republicans are scrambling to get the speakerless chamber back in working order and ready to approve more aid for Israel. Majority Leader Steve Scalise won his party's nomination for Speaker, but hasn't locked in the support for a full House vote. Political drama against the backdrop of war, terror, and grief. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is now set to head to Israel tomorrow as Secretary Blinken carries on to Jordan to speak to leaders there in the region about how to keep the conflict from spreading.
And NBC's Lester Holt is still in Israel with another special edition of NBC Nightly News. He's going to take us close to the border to see the destruction firsthand. Plus, he has a one-on-one interview with Secretary Blinken that's coming up right here at 5:30. The auto workers' strike is expanding. The president of the workers' union says leadership had no choice but to add a new Ford plant to its strike against the big three automakers. Staff at Ford's Kentucky truck plant were told to walk off the job yesterday. The union is demanding wage hikes and other concessions from Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. Now, union president Shawn Fain says the union has been bargaining with Ford, but he says Ford refuses to sufficiently sweeten its offer to workers.
They gave us the same offer that they gave us 2 weeks ago. Really no progress, and so we really felt like we had no option but to escalate it.
Well, Ford has called its latest offer to the union the best so far on the table.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Boy, it was cool today with cloudy skies and mist and drizzle all the way through lunchtime for some of us. But look at the rapid clearing over the past few hours. Full sunshine west of Austin and just a few scattered clouds in town and eastward. With that, temperatures much warmer today. It's 83 degrees right now in Austin. That's a 13-degree jump compared to 24 hours ago. And it's warmer west to east across the state. Look at this, 90s in Midland and Abilene. But don't get used to it. We've got a strong autumn cold front blasting our way, and this is going to make it feel totally different late tomorrow. We'll have your ACL Weekend 2 forecasts after this.
All right, David, thank you very much. Well, people in San Marcos, in a neighborhood there, say that they're worried about increasing crime in the area, and tonight they have a chance to take those worries straight to police.
The police chief and other officers are hosting a public safety meeting. KXAN Sarah Alshesh shares the residents' concerns.
The only light that's working is the light that's about 5 houses down.
At night, George Garcia says most of his street in the Blanco Gardens area of San Marcos is pitch black.
It's pretty dark. We usually use flashlights to come out here to go into our car or take out the trash cans the night before.
Garcia believes the lack of light contributes to more crime.
We know that the crime has been very high. Breaking into cars, going to backyards, taking bikes, especially bikes, lawnmowers.
Making it dangerous for Garcia and others who leave for work before the sun comes up.
Residents here that I work for the school district that are bus drivers, and they got to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning too as well, and it's, and it's unsafe.
Thursday night, Garcia and others will speak directly to the San Marcos Police Department about those issues during a public safety meeting. The department told KXAN at a prior meeting SMPD heard about a variety of issues, one of them being the number of shots fired calls neighbors reported. SMPD says it will discuss those concerns and share updates on specific initiatives for the area. Garcia says he'll be there, front and center, hoping for a resolution.
My first question is I'm going to ask the meeting tonight about the lighting and then about the crime. Hopefully we'll get some good news today.
Sarah Alsheh, KXAN News.
Neighbors say they'd like to see more officers patrolling the area. San Marcos PD told KXAN it is working on staffing. The department says the patrol division has about 12 vacancies, but that several officers are currently in training. Now they hope to fill those positions in mid to late January. For Hays County residents interested in looking at crime near them, the county offers Citizen Connect. This is an online tool to find that data, including incidents in San Marcos, Kyle, Buda, and Texas State University. You can also apparently sign up for alerts for incidents in a specific part of that county. There is a link on the San Marcos PD's website.
Well, APD needs your help searching for shooting suspects. We're going to tell you where this happened and what you could get for helping them out.
Plus, how students are making food at the state fair a little healthier and greener.
Well, Austin police need help finding 2 suspects in connection to a shooting that happened last month. They say they responded to the adult entertainment club Bear Cabaret on Sunday, September 24th, around 6 in the morning. That's on Reservoir Court in East Austin. Now, they say someone fired off several shots before leaving in a white Mercedes-Benz. A bystander was shot in the foot. APD also found multiple bullet casings at the scene. APD is looking for a black man in his mid to late 20s with shoulder-length dreadlocks. They're also looking for that white Mercedes. If you have any information, call police. You could get a $1,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest, and you can remain anonymous.
There is an all-new Dateline tonight at 9 right here on KXAN. Andrea Cannon gives us a preview.
This is a story about a young mother found dead in her bed, but police have no idea how she died. What they did know, she'd called police dozens of times complaining about harassing phone calls and X-rated photos left around her house. Could the person tormenting Julie Jensen be responsible for her death? Turned out she'd been poisoned. But how? And why? Tonight on Dateline.
Well, the country has a new billionaire where the lotto winner bought their tickets and how much they're taking home.
A perfectly warm and typical October day. High temperatures in town so far at 84 and 1 degree warmer than that so far at the airport. Your first warning forecast with a hot day tomorrow, then a big cool down.
Well, you don't typically think food at the state fair synonymous with healthy. We all love our corny dogs and funnel cakes, but let's be real. You don't count the calories when you eat them.
And that is certainly not the type of food that attracted some Dallas high school students to the fair. Noelle Walker has the story.
At the state fair,
everyone needs to eat, right?
The menu leans toward food on a stick.
These are hydroponics.
But how about food on a string?
So it's helpful to know where your food is coming from.
From red tomatoes to green onions, cucumbers to curly lettuce, everything you need to make a salad is grown right here in the shadow of the Texas Star at Big Tex Urban Farms.
When they come in here, they're seeing something growing or they're experiencing horticulture for the very first time.
Where you place one crop into each bucket.
Charity is an intern.
And they can also support viney crops.
The students from City Lab High School in Dallas are learning about urban gardening.
It's a lot more reliable than maybe traditional farming, especially with climate change and like soil erosion. There's a lot of issues with like the environment right now. So seasons could become more like drastic, but the greenhouse will like always stay the same.
Sustainable, and with shorter distance from urban farm to table, there's less food waste.
So a good thing about these is that they're actually not submerged in water.
Interns are here to pass on what they learn.
Okay, thank you.
To fairgoers who visit.
It's very important. So if you look at what's coming around modern day, it's very much like locally grown, homegrown is what you're wanting in your kitchen. You don't think you're going to see that at the fair.
Midway games? Yes. Those will always be at the fair.
Honestly, this stuff is just more important and it's like more of my interest, and I think what they're doing here is like really amazing.
As a society, urban society, we've kind of lost touch with nature a bit, and we hope to kind of rekindle that.
One student, one salad at a time. At Fair Park, Noelle Walker, NBC5.
It's all very impressive, and some of these students will be selected to intern at Big Tex Urban Farms in the spring for hands-on classes in urban farming.
All right, so, well, it seems like it was educational, right? They weren't serving salads. I don't know.
People don't go to the fair.
That would be pretty short.
But yeah,
funnel cakes, turkey legs, you name it.
And in a controlled environment like they were talking about with the greenhouse. Ranchers, farmers, they've had a real heck of a time the past few months dealing with this drought. We got our weekly drought monitor update just in today. Remember last week, this is almost as bad as it gets. Level 4 exceptional drought, widespread. Watch as I change to this week from Austin eastward. There we go, a little improvement, down one level of drought severity in our eastern counties and parts of Hayes County south of Austin. That's because of the beneficial rain that we've seen. Of course, we got a long way to go, don't we? It's 83 right now out at Zilker Park. You can see the flags flying at ACL, getting ready for weekend 2, ramping up tomorrow starting at noon. The pollen count is down, but this could go up with some gusty winds this weekend. Fall elm and mold rather, trending lower than yesterday. We had those persistent clouds hanging with us much of the day today. Those are now vacating the area for now. This is happening though while a powerful low pressure is cranking up and intensifying near Denver. Denver could see their first freeze of the fall season tomorrow night, while the mountains there are getting 8+ inches of snow. Of course, we're not going to get that cold, but the cold front responsible is moving our way, and it arrives in Austin in less than 24 hours. So let's talk about what to expect. No rain coming with the front, so we'll focus on the temperature change. 80s right now with warm south winds. Those south winds and a blanket of clouds keep us very unusually warm tonight with lows in the lower and even mid-70s in October. Here comes the front, though, entering the northern hill country mid-morning, Austin by mid-afternoon. Now, it will be quite hot just briefly in front of this, probably hitting or exceeding 90 in Austin tomorrow. But by 7 p.m., the temperatures have dropped 10 degrees. The humidity is plummeting, and breezy north winds bring low temperatures Saturday back to the 50s and wonderful, mild autumn days this weekend. Look at Saturday afternoon in the upper 70s to near 80. So with ACL Weekend 2, check it out, a special forecast for the concerts. Here we go. Couldn't be much better than this besides that 90-degree Friday. 80 degrees on Saturday, 76 on Sunday. Should be our second consecutive wonderful weekend out at ACL. And I've always wanted to try this. Look at this, guys. It's like I'm playing the drums.
That's awesome.
This is too much fun. There's also a solar eclipse, of course, happening on Saturday. Here's the center line of the eclipse, best viewing southwest of Austin. The bottom line here, though, is we won't have a lot of cloud cover to deal with midday Saturday with the eclipse. This is actually great news because west of San Antonio, they can be pretty overcast. So I think we're in the right spot here to view with appropriate eyewear, of course. All right, tonight. 71 with increasing clouds and a warm southerly breeze. Tomorrow, it'll be hot, but then the northwest winds blow in and temperatures get a lot more tolerable after a 90-degree October day. We're down to 80, then in the 70s, not only on Sunday, but for several days next week. Look at the overnight lows in the 50s for 5 nights in a row, maybe even upper 40s one of those nights early next week. We are giving you your first warning on the next chance of rain and thunderstorms, and that is up in your latest forecast. Next Thursday, could be some beneficial rain heading our way. We will keep you advised as that gets a little closer right here and on your KXAN weather app.
Well, that was quite the sight for people on the University of Texas campus today, a rare robot parade. UT students, staff, and other organizations gathered together to walk their research robots and show off their work. Now, one robot featured is called ALF. The UT Robotics says ALF from the company Boston Dynamics is used to search for alpha radiation. Another robot is named Husky from the company ClearPath, and that one is used for mapping and navigation.
Okay, we have David doing the drums. We have robots. This is Newscast of the Day. Coming up, an inspirational woman from the 1980s needs some inspiration herself. The battle gymnastics legend Mary Lou Retton is fighting in the hospital and the help coming in from the community.
From here in Ashkelon, Israel, we can continue to hear the rumble of airstrikes on targets in Gaza. We've moved closer to the border now to give you a look tonight at some of the damage from the rocket attacks. Also, full coverage of Secretary Blinken's visit to the region when we see you tonight on NBC Nightly News.
Well, the support continues to pour in for gymnastics legend Mary Lou Retton, whose daughters say is hospitalized with a rare form of pneumonia. Her family started a crowdfunding campaign to help with Retton's medical bills. They say the former Olympian is unable to breathe on her own and has been in the ICU for over a week now. Now, since Retton's daughters asked for help, more than 5,000 donors have contributed to the family, far surpassing their $50,000 goal. It's been nearly 4 decades since Retton won gold at the 1984 Olympics, becoming America's sweetheart at the age of only 16.
The former boss of Formula One racing, Bernie Ecclestone, has been given a suspended sentence after pleading guilty to fraud. The 92-year-old did not declare more than 400 million euros in a trust to tax authorities. He was sentenced to 17 months in prison, which was suspended for 2 years. Ecclestone also agreed to a civil settlement, and while Formula One is off this weekend, there are 5 races remaining when it returns, the first of which will be right here in Austin at Circuit of the Americas next weekend.
Well, sorry to tell you, but a person in California has won the $1.73 billion Powerball jackpot. It was a small liquor store in the tiny mountain town of Fraser Park, about 75 miles north of Los Angeles. They sold the ticket. The estimated cash payout is $774 million. Plus, the seller of the winning ticket, the store owners, they get a check worth $1 million. The Powerball jackpot is now reset to $20 million, and the next drawing is going to be this Saturday.
We're all thinking, who do we know in California? And here's a look at what's coming up tonight. You've got Law & Order Special Victims until about 7 p.m., followed by Transplant at 8 p.m. and an all-new Dateline at 9. Then we'll be back right here on KXAN for our 10 o'clock news.
Or you can join us an hour earlier for KXAN News at 9 over on CW Austin. Here's where to find us.